Lindsay. How's it going?
Hey, Aubrey, it's awesome. I'm excited to be recording with you today. How's everything on your end?
Yes, really great. It's actually a little rainy here today, which
What?
in Arizona we get very excited about any weather because it's just always sunny. So a little
Okay,
rain and
interesting.
like, ooh, something different.
Oh, I could see how that would make sense. Rain, in a way, it's kind of an excuse to stay in, read a book, cuddle up. It's kind of nice, sort of,
I
sometimes,
know
right?
it is nice. I love it. I love hearing the rain on a rooftop. I love
Yes.
being able to just be warm and inside. It's lovely. And then
I
you go
think we're
outside
gonna
and it
get some.
smells so good after the rain. I
The
love
smell
that.
of the rain, the smell of the spring. I love that. I love that smell. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. All right, what are we getting into today? Are we getting into the phone call situation, an awkward phone call situation?
Yes, you guys, everyone out there, including me, has been on a conversation where it ended kind of awkwardly. And
Yes.
this happens all the time, even to natives,
Yep.
because sometimes, like, you'll think the other person on the end of the line is trying to get off and hang up. And so you'll end the call, and then you'll realize, oh, no, they weren't. There was still something to say. This happens. Phone
Oh, this
calls end
happens.
awkwardly, but we can avoid that. And especially with business English phone calls, we do want to avoid that. We need to be very clear when we're ending a phone call to help avoid that awkwardness with ending it. We got a great listener question about this.
Yeah, because we know that our listeners do spend a lot of time on the phone at work, and these are high stakes situations, aren't they, Aubrey?
Yes, exactly. Often you just have that one chance and you might not be
Yes.
able to get a hold of someone again. They might avoid your phone calls if it ends awkwardly. So it's high stakes, like you said. You want to make sure to end the call on a positive note.
You got it. Before we get into it, we just want to let our listeners know that we have a whole other podcast. If they don't know, some of them may not be aware. What is that other podcast all about, Aubrey?
Yes, IELTS Energy. Jessica and I are over there, 2 episodes every week. So if you are planning to take IELTS, or not right now or in the future, this is the best podcast you guys can be listening to because Jessica was an examiner for 14 years. She has all this great insider info. She's passed it to me. So our team, you can trust the content that we're giving you. So check it out, IELTS Energy Podcast.
All right, we'll see you guys over there. All right, so should I go ahead and read the question? Whoa, it's a long one again. We're getting some great listener questions here, Aubrey.
Yes, I know, right? I love these questions because, like, a chunk of it is usually just letting us know they love the podcast, and that just
Yeah.
makes me feel
And
good.
we love that. We love that. All right, here goes the question. So the student says, "Dear Lindsay and Michelle and Aubrey and Jessica, of course, all four of us are over here sometimes on the podcast. Hello, I'm Moeko from Japan. Thank you for a lot of the episodes until now. I enjoy listening every morning. Today I'm on holiday, so I listen repeatedly. That's great.
Yes,
That's
right?
fantastic. At this time, I'm sending an email to ask about how to answer the phone. I communicate with my customers by phone at work. I'm so confused when the call ends. For example, at the end of the call in English, I say, "Thank you for your time." And sometime later, the customer will say, "That's all." I don't know how to convey the appreciation in the last moment and how to finish the call. Any good phrases? I also want to know about this in the business world or in other situations like daily life. I'm sure she wants to know. I'm
Definitely.
looking forward to listening to this episode. Sincerely, Moeko. What a
Oh, it's
good
such a good
question.
question, right?
Mm,
Because that is a good thing to say toward the end of a conversation, to say thank you for your time on a phone call, but that's not going to signal to the other person that the phone call is over. Because after thank you for your time, there are several other things you could say. You might say something else, right? There are specific phrases that you would need to follow that up with to let the other person know that the call is over, right? There are
uh
specific
huh.
phrases that signal a phone call is ending, and you have to use one of those at the end.
Yeah, and this also could be cultural too at the same time because I think in different languages,
Mm-hmm.
more words are said at the end of a conversation, whether it's on a call or whether it's in person. I'm thinking about in Japan, the Japanese bow. I've seen it happen multiple times, right? Like
Mm.
continuous bowing. So that means like there's a concerted response, like there's a concerted effort to make sure the relationship is solid before we're ending this exchange. And so we have to do a little something more. So thinking about your culture, how do you say goodbye? How do you end an exchange? that could influence what you're thinking should be done in English. So that's really interesting.
Yes, it is interesting. And first, I want to talk about there are multiple options for that last phrase. To
Hmm.
say thank you for your time is a
Yeah.
great one, but there are several. So let's first just
Okay.
highlight a few because
Let's do it.
I like what she was saying, that she was saying, I want to express that appreciation for them
Yeah.
for having taken the time to talk to me. And yes, you should do that. And you should have a few ways to do that. So, first, that one, thank you for your time. You can also say, thanks for taking the time to talk today.
Yes, exactly. Or thanks for this information. This really helps. So adding a little something more, right?
To let
Hmm.
them know, like, okay, I've gotten clarification today. I've gotten a little more information about a call. That would be a little more of a specific usage where
Yeah,
you've been able to speak to a colleague or maybe a client and get a little more information about maybe a project you're working on, something that you're
completely.
doing for them. So to say, okay, thanks for this information. This really
Yes.
helps.
I love it. And what else? Great. I think we're on the same page. Let's circle back soon. Circle back's a great one, which we can talk about in another episode. Aubrey, what's that? What does that mean, by the way, as a
Yeah,
bonus
it
today?
just means like, let's talk again soon about this topic, right? So you're saying whatever it is we've been talking about, this is not the last conversation, right? We're going
Mhm.
to talk again soon, give each other an update. That's to circle back, to come back to that same conversation.
Yeah, this really does matter because they say that the mind remembers the last interaction you've had with the person. It doesn't remember all of them or the first one. It's the most recent interaction you've had. That's what really matters. So we want to always take care of that person when we're in that exchange, right? Take care of the relationship.
Yes, for sure. It's true. It reminds me of with sports, like volleyball, we'll play maybe 10 games in a morning. And for
Yeah.
the last one, I'll always say, like, this is the only one we're going to remember, guys. Play your hardest.
Yeah.
This
True.
is the
It's
one
so
you'll remember.
true. It's so
It's
true.
so true.
Experiences, last days of things. This is
Yep.
what we remember. Yes.
Exactly. So true. Okay, so let's get into those phrases. We're going to share four phrases that you need to close with after you express your appreciation for their time. That's not enough. It can't just end with thanks for your time because the other
Okay.
person on the other end won't know if you're finished talking. You need something that very clearly and directly signals that. So the first one is just to say, have a great day. This is often how I end a call. I'll say, perfect, thanks for your time. Have a great day. And the other
Yeah.
person's going to say, yep, you too, bye, right? They understand that means this phone call is over.
All right. I love it. Very standard, very good. But we're zooming out into life in general, right? We've just talked about, hey, you've helped me a lot. I really appreciate it. Let's circle back to this topic. Now we're zooming out to life, their day, right?
Right.
Um, I end the podcast a lot with have a good one when we have our conversations, right? So our listeners know that one for sure. That's our number
Yes.
two, right?
Yes, it's very native and natural. It means the same thing as have a good day. We just
Hmm.
say have a good one. It means
It's
have a
just
good day.
very native and natural. Yeah, exactly. What would be the third, Aubrey?
Just to say talk to you later or talk to you soon. And
Hmm.
you do want to choose one or the other depending on how soon you're going to talk to them, right?
Right.
If there isn't a plan to talk very soon, you say, okay, talk to you later. Talk to you soon means, okay, we're going to circle back. We're going to talk soon about this.
Yeah, like maybe we have a meeting later that day or the next day, or maybe there's some kind of
Right.
gathering company wide. I don't know, something like that. So it's a little bit different. I agree. That's important to point out. And then, guys, number four, hope to hear from you soon. For this one, I would tend to write that more when I reach
Mm.
out in an email. What about you, Aubrey? What's your
It's
style?
definitely more formal and it is for a little more of a specific situation, right? If
Hmm.
you have maybe a sales call or
Yeah,
if you're making a first contact with someone
first
and
contact.
it's going to now be the ball is in their court, as we say. You
Yes,
are hoping that they will call you back about something. This would
yes.
be good. You're right. We write this a lot in an email. You can also say it on a phone call. If you're wanting them to call you back after they consider something, you can say,
Hmm.
great, hope to hear from you soon.
Exactly, where the ball is in their court. Or the other instance that I would use it, I just used it this week, is leaving a voicemail when you want them
Mm,
to get back to you, right? And we're not talking about voicemails today, but
good
that could
point,
be
though.
another episode. Yeah, leaving a
Yep.
voicemail. I'm gonna wait to hear from you.
And it is
Right?
less direct than just like, call me back.
Yeah, call me back. You notice that's not here, right? Call me back. No, it's too that is too direct. I
Yeah,
agree.
we're a
Yeah.
little more indirect about this. It's a very polite, kind way to say that we're hoping they'll call us back. Hope to hear from you soon.
I love it. So good. So now that we have the tools, let's do a role play. In this situation, Aubrey, you are a client of mine, and we're just finishing up a conversation about the status of the project that I'm working on for you.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
exactly.
Okay. I think I have a really good idea of our next steps here.
Great. Yes, this all sounds really good.
Perfect. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Nice.
Very
So
quick, right? Because we're just
quick.
showing the very end of a phone call.
Yeah.
But you can see how if you just said, perfect, thanks for your time, I wouldn't realize the conversation is ending necessarily, right? You have to have
Yeah.
that. Have a great day.
Okay.
That's
So
the
it's
signal. The phone call is over.
signals. We have to have those signals. It's so important. And like we said, obviously, guys, there's more before the role play, right? We're talking about the project
Yes.
and the status and all this stuff, but this is how we're ending it here. I love it. So good. So good. Aubrey, do we have a takeaway for our listeners today? What should we leave them with?
Yes, I think the most important thing to realize is you have to be very clear and direct on phone calls. We talk about this a lot. Some of our the interviews we did for our business course, these native
Mm-hmm.
professionals brought this up, especially on phone calls and in emails. It's so important to be very direct and clear. You don't want to waste anyone's time. But even more than that, we want to eliminate that awkwardness that can happen at the end of a conversation by, again, being very clear and direct, making sure the other person knows when the phone call is ending.
Yeah, that is huge. And you're right, Aubrey. We do have a whole business English course with an entire module just on telephone English where we have templates. You did a couple of interviews in that course. Did you interview anyone for the telephone module? I'm trying to remember. Who did you interview in that
I
course?
did. I did one about video calls, a couple of
Yeah,
different ones
video.
about video calls,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it is similar skills. But no, I didn't. I didn't do one of the ones for the actual phone calls because it is
Yeah.
interesting. We separated those modules because when you can't see someone, it really is different skills, right? You
It
can't
really
read
is.
their face. You can't read their body language. You have to be
Yes.
so clear and direct to make sure that everything is understood on the phone. It's a whole different set of skills.
It's a whole other set. Guys, it is really challenging. But again, the thing that's unique about our courses, the way we approach our courses, is that we interview native speakers for our courses. We bring them in, and then we take what they're teaching us, and you get to learn that vocabulary, those templates, those structures directly from those successful native speakers. I love it. Guys, to go check out that course, go over to allearsenglish.com/business. All right.
Yes,
Good
awesome.
stuff.
This is a
Thanks,
really
Aubrey.
fun one. Eliminate the awkwardness. That is a good goal.
Yeah, let's eliminate that. And thank you to our listener for this great question. Send more
Yes.
questions, guys, especially business English questions. We love them. All right. Thanks, Aubrey. Talk to
Thank
you soon.
you. See you later. Bye.
Bye.